Oh, Jamar Chase with the dive. Because Garrett Wilson's wide open. Garrett Wilson, touchdown Barrett. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the video here in the What a Juice channel, and welcome to episode number 3 of season 1 here in the What If Madden series. The previous episodes we've done what if the Seattle Seahawks ran the football in the Super Bowl. And then the next episode we did what if the New Orleans Saints were not affected by Hurricane Katrina. Those two episodes are linked in the playlist down below in the description if you can go back and watch them if you have not seen them already. But today's episode you already know because of the title and the thumbnail. That's why you clicked on this video in the first place. It is what if Aaron Rodgers and Alex Smith were swapped when they got drafted. This has been a highly requested video. Let me actually pull up the man himself who requested the video so I can shout you out. It is CJ Smalls. I appreciate you, CJ. I appreciate you requesting this, and it's finally here. So if you want to get featured and shouted out in one of these what if season videos, leave a comment down below in the description of this one or in the previous other ones with a suggestion of your own, and maybe it'll be featured in a future episode of Madden What If. So today we are going to be looking at what would happen, what if Aaron Rodgers was drafted by the San Francisco 49ers, number 1 overall, and Green Bay took Alex Smith. Now, here's a little bit of a backstory on the whole situation if you're not familiar. So Aaron Rodgers from Cal and Alex Smith from Utah, completely different players in the 2005 NFL Draft. Aaron Rodgers was widely more talented than Alex Smith, more athletic, more understanding of the game. But his downside, as we've come to know with Aaron Rodgers in later years, is that he was a little bit full of himself, a little bit too cocky for the 49ers coach Mike Nolan. Alex Smith, on the other hand, was coming from a spread offense run by Urban Meyer, not necessarily the pro-style offense that teams would be looking for. Alex Smith was a little bit mobile, but not enough to be able to escape the pocket against pro NFL linebackers and pass rushers, unlike Aaron Rodgers, who could escape that at times. Alex Smith was more of your typical, just straight-up box quarterback. He was what you would want personality-wise out of your NFL quarterback at the time. And so Alex Smith started to rise up the boards a little bit. Aaron Rodgers was thought to be the number 1 overall pick, but when the 49ers interviewed Rodgers and they found out these personal things about him, how he was a little bit more cocky than they would want, how he didn't really fit what they were trying to do, Aaron Rodgers did not end up getting drafted to the 49ers. They ended up swerving, I should say, and taking Alex Smith, the number 1 overall pick, to a lot of people's surprise at the time. And then that brought up the questions, what's wrong with Aaron Rodgers? Does he have some sort of injury that we don't know about? Does he have some sort of personal thing, something personal wrong with him? Is there something that we don't know? So then that trickle effect happened. It started to domino, and Aaron Rodgers slid down the board. And then we land on the Green Bay Packers, who already at the time had a future Hall of Fame quarterback in Brett Favre, who had already won them a Super Bowl by the time they got to this draft pick with 2005. They already had an established future Hall of Fame quarterback. They didn't need a quarterback because Brett Favre was probably going to go 5-10 more years in his career. At least that's what they would have thought. He ended up going, to like 2013? I don't even remember when he retired. But whatever. He kept going, and they didn't really even need a quarterback. But Rodgers had slipped, and they took Aaron Rodgers with like the 20-something pick. I forget what it is. And everybody was like, wow, Green Bay just got a steal. The Packers just got an absolute steal. They got maybe the best quarterback in the draft in the latter half of the first round, when all the experts were saying Aaron Rodgers could go number 1 overall. Instead, Alex Smith goes number 1. Rodgers falls to the Packers, and we know how their careers played out. Alex Smith was a fine quarterback. He was very good in his time. He didn't really live up to expectations, I guess you could say. But to be fair, those expectations were a little bit unfair for him because he wasn't necessarily thought of as a number 1 overall pick. So then he goes away. He goes to Kansas City, and maybe is most notable for being the quote-unquote bridge quarterback until Patrick Mahomes takes over, which he ends up doing, and then obviously we know how good the Chiefs have been there. But people forget how good Smith was on the Kansas City Chiefs before eventually the Chiefs drafted Mahomes, and then he took over. Then he heads over to Washington. Actually, does he get hurt in Washington, or does he get hurt in Kansas City? Because Alex Smith has one of the nastiest leg injuries I have ever seen. I wasn't alive when Joe Theismann had his injury, but I've seen it, obviously. And this Alex Smith injury is right there next to it, maybe even worse than the Joe Theismann injury. And obviously we know that that injury ended Joe Theismann's career. This one, on the other hand, took Alex Smith out of competition for at least 3 years, 2 years, 3, something like that. And then he made a comeback, played in an NFL game for the Washington Commanders, although I think they were the football team when he made his comeback. Made the return and actually played live minutes, live snaps in the NFL after having reconstructive leg surgery. I don't understand. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. It was phenomenal. So Alex Smith has had a very wild up and down career that ended with a fantastic comeback moment. So now Alex Smith is retired, as he should be. And Aaron Rodgers, we know how his career has gone. Obviously, 4-time MVP, most recently back-to-back. He's a one-time Super Bowl champion, All-Pro, Pro Bowler, future Hall of Fame quarterback, now playing for the New York Jets. So one career is vastly different from the other one, and in this What If video, we are going to simulate 5 years into the future, 5 years into these rookies' NFL careers, and find out if the beginning of their careers are going to be any different. Now, remember, Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre for a few seasons before he got his eventual start when Brett Favre left to go to New York. Or was it Minnesota? Whatever one he went to first. I always forget. I think it was New York first, then Minnesota. So now that Alex Smith is taking the spot of Aaron Rodgers, he's going to have to sit behind Brett Favre, and we'll follow that one as well. We'll follow Alex Smith's career alongside Aaron Rodgers as we rebuild the 49ers, because we are going to be taking control of the 49ers and trying to rebuild them for 5 seasons with Rodgers as the quarterback. So we will follow the Packers, and we will follow Alex Smith's career and see how he does in these 5-year simulation. But how will it change with Alex Smith, who many thought probably needed a little bit of time to sit back and watch and learn the game, learn the speed of the game, instead of just being thrown into it with the 49ers? How will his career change in these 5 years with him getting some time to learn from Brett Favre? Maybe it won't change at all. Maybe we won't even find out in these 5 years, because Brett Favre could stay around for these 5 seasons and we will never know what Alex Smith's career could have been in the beginning, because he'll never get a chance to start. That's a possibility. We have to know that. But now we get to find out, what will Aaron Rodgers' career turn out to be in the first 5 years of this simulation, if he was thrust into it for the 49ers instead of having that time to sit behind a future Hall of Fame quarterback. How will Aaron Rodgers' career, beginning of his career, change? That's all going to be figured out in today's episode. I hope you go and enjoy. If you do, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club. If you're enjoying these Madden What If videos, please leave a like, and please leave a comment down below for any suggestions of other future What If topics that you want to see me do a simulation for. I only ask that you keep them within the modern era of like 2004, 2005, around that era to now, obviously. So it's a lot harder to find older rosters that are good and worthy of using on the Madden share community. And I don't have the time to make a roster myself. So if you could keep it around there, it'd be a little bit easier to find the draft classes, to find the rosters, to make everything more immersive, basically. So that's the only thing I ask. That's the only requirement you have. But feel free to leave any what-if scenarios in the comment section that you might want to see. And thank you again, CJ, for suggesting the Rodgers versus Alex Smith swap. And let's find out how the beginning of their careers would change if Aaron Rodgers was drafted by the 49ers and Alex Smith was drafted by the Packers. Let's get it. A little bit of a long intro, but I wanted to get that little bit of backstory to you so you could feel more connected to this episode. But let's take a look at what the 49ers have. Now, you got to remember, this is back in 2005. So the 49ers back in 2005, there was a reason they had the #1 overall pick. This team was in full rebuild mode. So we don't have a lot to work with. And that's the main reason why the 49ers are the team that we're going to be controlling to rebuild for 5 seasons. Here is Aaron Rodgers, the #1 overall pick of the 2005 NFL draft, hidden development. We are not going to draft a quarterback in this rebuild. Obviously, we have Aaron Rodgers. So we are going to be drafting everybody else, every other position. We have Frank Gore, who is a young, up-and-coming running back, also a rookie. Was he drafted in this draft class? He might have been, actually. I don't remember. But it says he's a rookie. Obviously, some of the roster experience could be different. Like it says, for example, it says Alex Smith is a 1-year pro instead of a rookie. I didn't make the roster, so I can't change that. Or I could have changed it, I guess. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We know that Alex Smith was a rookie. So Frank Gore right here is on the team as well. We might not need to draft a running back either if we can just develop Frank Gore to star development, superstar development, eventually X Factor. We do have Brandon Lloyd, who is an 87 overall, pretty young receiver, 6 foot, good stats as well. Hopefully he can develop into a #1. That's the goal. The rest of the receiving room is not very good at all. The offensive line is decent in terms of overalls, but we could use some other ones. I'm sure we could get some other offensive linemen, but maybe we'll just keep the offensive line the way it is, and then everybody just develops and everybody gets good. That's a possibility. Tight ends are not an option here. Brian Jennings is not very good. There's not really a whole lot to look for here. On the defensive side of things, obviously there's no Patrick Willis, there's no Navarro Bowman, there's no Aldon Smith. That's all in the future. I don't even think we'll get to Aldon Smith or Navarro Bowman. But Patrick Willis will probably come up in this episode. I don't think we'll get... Those guys might be a little bit later. So, this is what the 49ers defense looked like back in this era. Not that great. Is this Mike Adams? I think it might be. It is Mr. Mike Adams. It's not a great team. There's a reason they were picking at #1 overall. Let's go take a look quickly at the Packers because they've got Mr. Alex Smith. So the Green Bay Packers, obviously with Brett Favre as their quarterback, there he is, Alex Smith, and Bailey Zappe's here as well. Can I change him to be a rookie? I might be able to now that he's in a franchise. I'm not sure. Can I change him? Experience? I don't think I can change his experience now that we're in a franchise. That's okay. We know the deal with Alex Smith. But he's going to be sitting behind Brett Favre, who is 38. Just saying. So there could be a time where Alex Smith takes over. We'll find out. He's got the day 1 starter QB of the future tag, so that's good, which means they won't be looking to move off from him. They've got Amon Green. They've got Donald Driver. So they've got some good weapons for him. Bubba Franks. Then we go to the defense. They've got Kabir Gabaja Biamila. I think is how you pronounce his name. I apologize if it's not. You got Nick Barnett. You've got Al Harris. You've got Nick Collins. You've got Mark Roman. You've got a lot of good players on this Packers team. So we'll see how they do when it comes to this 5-year simulation. We are going to start simulating. I've already loaded in the 2006 draft class. We are going to start simulating here. I will see you guys at the playoffs, and we'll see how Aaron Rodgers and Alex Smith do in their rookie seasons. Let's get to it. We have made it to the playoffs of the first season And we are 5-12. We did not make the playoffs. We are the last team in the division. Not surprising, this team is not as good as it could be in the future because we know that they were the #1 overall pick, so they're obviously not very good. We have some low morale, which is not good. Aaron Rodgers has gone to star development. That's what his trait, I'm assuming, is, because when we first found out, he had hidden development. But everybody seems to be doing okay. Brandon Lloyd grew a little bit, but other than that, everybody's got some low morale because we're bad. Let's take a look at how the Packers did. Did the Packers make the playoffs? The Packers did as the 7 seed, so Brett Favre carried them to the 7 seed of the playoffs. They are in Super Wildcard Sunday, although at this point in history, it was one less wildcard game. But whatever. Let's take a look at the stats for Season 1, see how Aaron Rodgers did in his first year in Green Bay. Rookie season, 3,600 yards, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. A very good rookie season from Aaron Rodgers. He just didn't really have anything around him. Frank Gore had 844 yards and 9 touchdowns. Rodgers even scrambled for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. Okay, I see you out here, Rodgers. 1,400 yards from Brandon Lloyd and 11 touchdowns. That's a #1 receiver right there. And everybody else did nothing. Then defensively, we had 112 tackles from Derek Smith, 106 from Tony Parrish, 93 from Brandon Moore, 15 tackles for loss for Julian Peterson, 19 for Anthony Adams. Bryant Young had 18, 17 for Marquise Douglas. So we were getting some crazy tackles for loss there. We were getting behind the line of scrimmage. Sacks, Julian Peterson had 13, 11.5 for Bryant Young. Marquise Douglas had 11. Jeez, man, we were getting some pressure. 3 interceptions for both Mike Adams and Shante Spencer. And then a couple ones for some other guys. And then without forgetting, let's go take a look at what the Packers have. How did Alex Smith do? He only played a little bit. Brett Favre had 4,800 yards, 42 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. That's a fantastic season for Brett Favre. But Alex Smith threw 1 pass, completed it for 4 yards. So his career completion percentage is 100%. All right. And we know the Packers made the playoffs. We'll see if the Packers end up as the Super Bowl champions. I don't know. Maybe they could. Let's simulate to the playoffs or to the Super Bowl. And let's find out if Alex Smith can win a Super Bowl in his rookie season. And maybe Aaron Rodgers will win Offensive Rookie of the Year. That'd be awesome. I'd love to see it. I would love to see if Rodgers could win Offensive Rookie of the Year. That would help his development trait. But it is going to be the Buffalo Bills versus the LA Rams in the Super Bowl. Not surprising there that the Packers did not make it. But let's see how far they got. They got to the divisional and lost to the Buccaneers. All right, so Favre, he made it a decent run. He tried. He definitely tried. But now it's time for the offseason. We've got a ton of money in cap room. We've got, hopefully, our own draft pick because this is the modern NFL draft, at least with the draft picks. So I don't know, do we have our own, or do we trade that to Miami? We might have traded it to Miami to have Trey Lance. Let me see what we're working with here. Do we have a draft pick? We have no first-round pick. That's to Miami. That's right. So I might have to just go and quickly get our pick back from Miami so that we can have it, because in 2005, 2006, they didn't give that pick to Miami. So let me... Dude, yeah, they have our pick, which is actually pick 5. So I will go before the draft. I will give us our pick back so that we can have it, because that's what would have happened. We would have never given it to Miami. The season recap for 2005-06 is Braylon Edwards wins Offensive Rookie of the Year, not Aaron Rodgers. Sean Merriman wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. Leonard Little wins the MVP for the Rams. The Rams won the Super Bowl. Brett Favre is the MVP of the league. Peter Gaffney or Bill Belichick is the Coach of the Year for the Patriots. Marty Booker and Michael Strahan are Offensive and Defensive Players of the Year. All right, so a little upsetting that Rodgers didn't win Rookie of the Year, but not much you can do about it. He had a pretty solid season, but I guess Braylon Edwards just had that much better of a season. You never know. So going into the draft, we don't need a quarterback, but we do need some weapons for Rodgers. And Reggie Bush is in this draft class, a teammate of Aaron Rodgers in high school. So that could be something. Fun fact, if you didn't know that, they went to high school together, Reggie Bush and Aaron Rodgers. Retirements. Let's see, anybody big? Joe Horn, Wayne Gandy. We know about that from the Saints rebuild. Tom Brady retires as a kicker because there's obviously the Tom Brady on the Patriots. Marshall Faulk retires. Warren Sapp, Junior Seau, Doug Flutie, Brett Favre. So here we go. It's time. Alex Smith, it's his team for the next 4 years. Michael Strahan retires after winning Defensive Player of the Year. Zach Thomas retires. This is going to be a big Hall of Fame class. Khalil Mack retires as a center. Ted Washington, John Lynch. All right. Some big Hall of Famers retiring in this first season of simulation. It's time for the re-sign period. Who do we have to re-sign? Who needs a new contract? Mike Adams. I'll bring back. Marquise Douglas is a star development player that we probably should bring back. Everybody that's star. Oh, Raekwon Davis I'm not going to bring back because he's not technically in the league. But everybody else should probably get brought back that star development. So let's start at the top here with Mike Adams. He doesn't want a crazy amount of money, but I'll give him a 4-year deal because that would lock him down for the entirety of the video, the rest of the video. And we'll offer him that. He's coming back. Mike Adams will return to the 49ers. And we will also bring back Marquise Douglas because he had a pretty good season. We'll offer him $3 years, about $5 million and a $4 million bonus. He's coming back as well. So 2 guys down. Then we will offer Salim Rashid as a star development player also, and we'll offer him about $2 million. We'll see what he says. He's coming back. So we got 3 guys back. Everybody else can leave. Don't really care about it. Not a big deal. We still have $161 million in cap space to work with. We have mock draft number 3. The Texans having 2 picks back to back because that's right. Because this one of these picks should be Cleveland's, I would think. But technically, it's the modern draft, so they have their pick. There's not much I can do about it. I can't just go and give... I guess I could go and give the... look at that. The Titans have Vince Young. I could go and back and give the Browns their pick back, but maybe that's a lot of work. I don't know. I probably should, though, shouldn't I? Maybe I'll do that. Okay, well, when I do the Dolphins pick back to me, I will also give the Browns their pick back as well, so that the Texans don't have two top 2 picks. That'd be pretty crazy, especially back here in this era. So this is what the top of the draft is looking like. I don't really know who we will take. We don't necessarily need a running back because we have Frank Gore. But we could use Antonio Cromartie. We could use A.J. Hawk. Vernon Davis, obviously, is who they took in this draft. So maybe we take Vernon Davis. That would be awesome to have because we do need a weapon for Rodgers to throw to. We talked about that. I don't know. It's nice not having to worry about getting a quarterback, though. I'm not really sure where to go with it. We will move to free agency. This is where it could be big. We have a lot of cap space. We need a good free agency class to bring in some nice talent so we don't have to completely rely on the draft. And Peyton Manning is here, but we don't need a quarterback. Warwick Dunn is here, but we don't necessarily need a running back. Although a 90 overall Warwick Dunn would be fun. Wide receivers we do need, and I like the fact that Antoine Randall L is here. He's only 26. We'd probably have to way overpay for him, but I could do that. We have a lot of space. Tight end Shanko, or Vishante Shanko is here. Offensive line, I think we're fine with the offensive line as the way it is. Although an 87 overall center who wants to be here, he is 34, but that could help us in the short term. Or LaCharles Bentley. Didn't we get LaCharles Bentley in the Saints rebuild? I don't remember. But LaCharles Bentley could be awesome as well. He's only 26. So we might go for him. That would certainly help us out. Corey Redding. The defensive line is not really there. A lot of older guys. Let's see. Tully Banta-Kane. I'm not really seeing anybody else that piques the interest too much. Sean Springs could be interesting as a veteran corner. But I'm gonna go for Antoine Randall L. I'm gonna go for LaCharles Bentley and maybe Sean Springs. So let's offer Antoine Randall L a big contract. He's gonna lock him down for the entirety of the rebuild. We're gonna have to severely overpay for him because he's got 8 offers and he doesn't want to be here. So the Cowboys, what are you offering him? What are the Cowboys offering my guy? Let's offer him a 5-year deal and just keep bumping that money up. I don't want to overpay him like crazy, but Antoine Randall and Brandon Lloyd would be a nasty 1-2 for Rodgers to throw to. So how's that? That puts us ahead of the Cowboys, but not by a whole lot. That's his... I'll go a little bit higher. 5-year deal. We'll go... He wants about $12 million per year. I'll give him 12, and I'll throw out maybe like $9.5 million in a bonus, and we'll see what that does. How's that? That puts us ahead of the Cowboys still. Hopefully he accepts that. So let's go and offer LaCharles Bentley, who also doesn't want to be here, but if we could sign him for the length of this rebuild, 4 and then maybe like 5 as his bonus, that's a good offer, and it puts us clearly ahead of the Eagles. I like that. Now let's go sign Sean Springs, who does want to be here a little bit at least. Maybe even Sam Madison as well. Let's get him for 2 seasons since he's a little bit older. Drop the money down a little bit on the bonus. Don't want to pay him crazy amounts of money. That puts us ahead on Sean Springs because he had nobody offering him. But Sam Madison as well on a little 2-year contract. Let's see what that does. Does that put us ahead of whoever's offering? The Chiefs. Okay, so we've used 4 of our 5 offers. I think I'm going to hold off on the rest of the money because we obviously need that money to sign our draft picks and stuff. There's Sebastian Janikowski. We need a kicker, but he's 28. Didn't we get Nate Kading last time? I think we got Nate Kading last time because he's a superstar development. But let's go for Sebastian Janikowski. Sign him for 4 seasons and go from there. So there's our final offer on Janikowski, and we will go to our targeted. Here's what we got. We got a Randall L., Janikowski, LaCharles Bentley, Sean Springs, and Sam Madison. We are ahead on every single person. Will we get every single person? Probably not. Everybody but Springs and Janikowski signed, and we only got Sam Madison out of it. Randall L. signed with the Cowboys. Bentley signed with the Chiefs. Well, that sucks. I thought we'd at least get LaCharles Bentley. That sucks a big one right there. At least we can offer this guy who's an 87 overall. Man, that's a little upsetting. I thought we'd get LaCharles Bentley. We are now favorable on Tom Nalen, who's a higher overall, but he's 34. We are going to have to bump up the offer on Sean Springs a little bit. I'll give him 2 years still, but I'll bump it up to $5 million and a $3 million bonus. We'll see what he says to that. They like that a lot. Janikowski, let's see what happens here on the second time. We got Nalen, Janikowski, Springs, and Madison. So we helped the corners a little bit, but we didn't get LaCharles Bentley. We didn't get Randall L. Kind of sucks, man. I really thought that having Randall L. on the team would really be awesome to pair with Brandon Lloyd, but it's not going to happen in the first season. I think that's where we save our rest of our money and we move on to the draft, which I will see you guys at the draft. I'm going to go and give everybody their picks back, or at least the Browns their pick back, and I'm going to get my pick back so that we have a top 5 pick in the draft. So I will see you guys at the draft. Okay, we made it to the draft. I traded the Browns pick back to the Browns from the Texans, so they now have the 2nd overall pick because they were the 2nd worst team in the league. We've got our first round pick back from the Dolphins, so now we have the 5th pick in the draft. So let's start drafting. I used my private workouts on Vernon Davis, AJ Hawk, and on D'Amico Ryans. So, funny enough, Texans head coach D'Amico Ryans. So that is how the draft is looking like right now. The draft board, excuse me, a little bit of a choke there. The draft board is probably going to be Mario Williams, as it should be. Then the Browns, they need a quarterback, and there's Vince Young, Jay Cutler, Matt Leinart, Kellen Clemens. So there's a couple options for the Browns to go with. We'll see what they do. We will see what happens here. Texans take DeBrickashaw Ferguson, number 1 overall. So Mario Williams still on the table. If he's at 5, I mean, we'll take him. I don't think he'll make it there. Vince Young goes to Cleveland at number 2. They needed a quarterback, and they got one. Jacksonville takes Vernon Davis. Is Mario Williams going to fall to us at 5? Do I even risk it? No, I can't risk it. We're trading up with the Jaguars, or the Panthers. We're trading up with the Jaguars. No, the Jaguars took... I said that twice now. We're trading up with the Panthers to take Mario Williams. We're just going up 1 spot, so it's not going to take us that much. Oh, man, this is crazy. I didn't expect us to trade up. I thought we were just going to sit at 5 and be fine with it, but, I mean, Vernon Davis got taken earlier than I thought. So we're going to trade up. It's not going to take too much. It might even just go, oh, I was going to say, it might even just go straight up, but let's offer them a 7th round pick this year, and they will decline it. Are you serious? We'll offer them a 6th round pick next year. We'll see what they say to that. They decline it, and then I'll offer my 7th, I guess. So what do they say to that? They accept it. So a 6 and a 7 gets us 1 spot higher to take Mario Williams, because I couldn't risk them taking Mario, which they probably would have. So we are going to take Mario Williams with our 4th overall pick. Now that's a massive boost to the defensive line. We needed it. Mario Williams, welcome to the squad. Welcome to San Francisco. Let's go, baby. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. So now we skip. Panthers take Reggie Bush with the 5th pick. Tamba Ali goes to the Seahawks. AJ Hawk goes to the Eagles. D'Amico Ryans to the Lions. Lions and Ryans. Cutler is the new quarterback in Tennessee. Instead of Vince Young, it is now Smokin' Jay Cutler, baby. You love to see it. Darren College goes to the Cowboys. The Cardinals will select Haloti Ngata, who is one of the best deep tackles in the class. Antonio Cromartie ends up falling to the Dolphins still. They had him projected to go where we were picking before I traded the pick. Mark Anderson to the Eagles. Jonathan Joseph to the Falcons. Broderick Bunkley to the Bengals. Barry Cofield, Ravens. D'Angelo Williams, Seahawks. Marcus McNeil, Jets. And Santonio Holmes, that sucks. I kind of wanted Santonio, but I didn't think he'd fall to the 2nd round. I might just simulate to our next pick and then just go from there, because I don't really know where we need to pick, so, or where we need to go. I didn't want to pick the draft board. I wanted to simulate to our next pick. We are into the later half of the 1st round. Let's simulate to our next pick. We pick at the top of the 5th or the 6th round. 2nd round. I can't talk today. We pick at the top of the 2nd round. Winston Justice is still here. So is Jeremy Trueblood. We do need offensive linemen, or at least we could use offensive linemen. Dante Whitner is here. Cortland Finnegan. Bobby Carpenter. I took Bobby Carpenter with the last pick, or with a pick in the last draft, last rebuild, so I don't think I want to take him again. Brandon Marshall is around 2 to 3. I don't think we can miss on Brandon Marshall. We missed on him with the Saints. I don't think we can miss on Brandon Marshall. We're going to take him at the top of the 2nd round. Welcome, Brandon Marshall. Him and Brandon Lloyd hopefully will be that 1-2 punch that we're looking for. That's some good numbers for Brandon Marshall. We pick at the top of the 3rd round as well, so we will move on to that. Let's see, what do we got here? So we've got our number 1 pass rusher. We've got our wide receiver number 2, or number 1 even. Cortland Finnegan's still around. So is Daniel Manning. Brent Grimes is still here. Tramon Williams. I don't want to go with Tramon Williams because this is the same exact draft class that I used for the Saints rebuild. So I kind of know some of the development traits, and I know that Tramon Williams is only normal development. Kind of cheating a little bit, but whatever. We could take Delaney Walker because we do need a tight end number 1. Although Anthony Fasano, I remember, was pretty good last time too. This is tricky because we do need corner, so we could take like a Brent Grimes or a Daniel Manning safety type or a Cortland Finnegan type, but also we need tight end, and we could take DeQuell Jackson too, and Delaney might fall. Kyle Williams is also here. There's some good value down the board. There is certainly some good value down the board. I just don't know if they will be here in the 4th round. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take DeQuell Jackson. That might be a bad idea, but getting a middle linebacker is certainly something that we could use. Plus, if we get Patrick Willis a little bit later in the rebuild, we can move DeQuell Jackson to outside linebacker. I'm going to take him. DeQuell Jackson hidden development in the 3rd round. Now we just got to hope that either Kyle Williams and Delaney Walker don't get taken, but I have a sneaky suspicion that they will. Fasano goes. There goes Daniel Manning. There goes Delaney. Is Kyle Williams going to get taken, or is he going to fall to the 4th round? I really hope that he does. Schlegel got taken. Brent Grimes. Ingo Martin. Michael Peterson. Leon Washington. We're getting close here. Still no Kyle Williams. Tim Jennings. Center goes off. Damata Pecco Sr. That's a good sign that Kyle Williams is still on the board and Pecco gets taken. Wembley, Daniel Bullocks. Jari Evans would have been awesome to get, but he gets taken in the late 3rd round. But we got Jari in the Saints rebuild, so we don't really need him for this one. Final pick. Kyle Williams survives to the 4th round. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. We are going to snag up Kyle Williams as our D tackle. He's only normal development, but he's going to be very good for us. I have a sneaky suspicion he's going to be very good. That's a big 4th round pick right there. We'll skip to the next user pick, which is the 5th round. And this is our final pick of the draft because we traded the 6th to move up 1 spot. Finnegan and Tramon Williams both fall like they did last time. But do we just take Finnegan this year, or do we take somebody else? Because last time we didn't take Finnegan, and I don't see anybody else that's worth taking. So we are going to take Cortland Finnegan. He's a first to 2nd round talent, or projected. We're going to take him. Only normal development, but hey, he's a good corner. He could end up being pretty good for us. I'm pretty happy with this first draft. Year 1's draft is pretty successful. I mean, Mario Williams fell to us at 4, although we had to trade up to 4 to get him. And then we ended up getting Brandon Marshall as well. We got DeQuell Jackson, we got Kyle Williams, and we got Finnegan. So I'd say we had a pretty good first draft here. That's going to certainly help this team in the future. We got a big body receiver for Rodgers to throw to. He's a 77 overall. Mario Williams is a 76. DeQuell Jackson's a 75. Kyle Williams ended up being a 72. So he's going to be pretty good for us. And 65 for Cortland Finnegan, not surprised there. Let's go to the entire NFL, see what we have. Highest overall player is Antonio Cromartie, 85. I forgot about that. Andrew Whitworth, 85 as well. Reggie Bush, 82. Vince Young. Dolphins got 2 of the highest rated players in the draft. Good for them, both on defense. All right, that's a pretty solid draft. I'm happy with it. I think we did a good job. Now we move into the 2nd season, and hopefully we can do a good job here and get to the playoffs. I'd love to get to the playoffs in season 2 because I think we have the pieces around. Rodgers has now Brandon Marshall and Brandon Lloyd. The Brandon brothers are going to hopefully be dominating, and we are going to start straight up. We're going to start Brandon Marshall over Battle. So that's some big number 1 and number 2 receivers. Nayland will come in and start at center. So we added that. We don't have any tight ends. I should have probably taken, what's-his-face, Delaney Walker or Fasano. And they have DeQuell Jackson down here at the back end because we have a couple middle linebackers that are pretty high overalls. Peterson's up to superstar development. Man, we got some interesting stuff. So it looks like Marshall and Williams will not play because we have a lot of depth, but that's okay. I'm fine with it. I am fine with it. As long as DeQuell develops, then we should be good. I'm going to simulate to the end of season 2. Well, I'll see you guys at the playoffs, and maybe, just maybe, we'll be a part of it. I'll see you guys then. Here we are at the playoffs of the 2nd season, and we actually went 3-14, worse than what we did in year 1, which is very surprising. Okay, 3-14, wildly bad. I don't know what happened. Let's take a look at the stats. We might have to switch playbooks, actually. I might have to go to the Green Bay playbook just because Aaron Rodgers is here. 3,900 yards, 26 touchdowns, 10 picks. It's an okay 2nd season for Rodgers. Defensively, Frank Gore had running wise, 1,000 yards for Frank Gore, 10 touchdowns. Rodgers even scrambled a few more times. Receiving, 1,300 yards for Brandon Lloyd. A little bit down from last year, but not too much. 9 touchdowns. Brandon Marshall in his rookie season at 918 and 6 touchdowns. We still got some building to do, but this team still looks pretty good. Derek Smith had 152 tackles. Brandon Moore had 105. Sam Madison had 99. We had some tackles for loss here. A lot of tackles for loss again. 25.5 sacks for Julian Peterson. Who is this man, and why is he so dominant? Sweet baby Jesus. Marquise Douglas had 14.5. That's absolutely insane. Interception leader Ahmed Plummer had 7 picks. Whoa, baby. That's a lot for simulation. I don't usually ever see that many in simulation. That's crazy. How did Alex Smith do in his first season? 4,700 yards, 40 touchdowns, 14 interceptions in his first full season as the starter in Green Bay. Good for Alex Smith. That's a good season for him. That's a very, very good season. Did they make the playoffs? They did as the 4 seed. They are covered up by my camera, but they are the 4 seed in the NFC playoffs this year. And I'm assuming we were the worst team in the NFL this year. We're going to change playbooks for the second season. We are going to go to the Packers playbook because obviously I know it's not the same Aaron Rodgers that is in Madden officially. Like, it's not the real Aaron Rodgers, but it's still Aaron Rodgers. Maybe he can develop in the Packers playbook because obviously something's not working with the 49ers playbook. Falcons and Raiders are your playoff or your Super Bowl matchup. That means the Packers lost in the wild card round because the Packers were playing the Falcons in the first round of the wild card. Yes, they did. They lost 40-25 in the first round. You can't see it because my camera's covering up, but that is the case. So it's Falcons and Raiders. Who is going to win the Super Bowl? I would expect the Raiders to because I think they were the higher seed. So I don't know. It is the Raiders 41-32. We still have a lot of cap space. The 2007 draft class is loaded in, which is the year that has Patrick Willis in it. So we are going to have to bring him in. Season recap. Fabian Washington is your MVP of the Super Bowl as the Raiders win. Donovan McNabb wins the MVP. Braden Williamson, Coach of the Year. Torrey Holt and Sean Merriman are the Offense Defense Players of the Year, and Matt Leinart and Antonio Cromartie are your Offense and Defensive Rookies of the Year. So the second season didn't really go our way. That's okay. What are the standings looking like? What are the standings looking like? We weren't the worst team. The Vikings and Jets were tied for the worst, and then here we are at third. So we have the third pick in the draft, maybe? Very interesting. But we have a ton of money. We just re-signed a couple of guys last year. We picked up the 5th-year option on Brandon Lloyd, so don't have to worry about him until next season. So who's here? Players that are ready to negotiate. Who do we got? We got Jeremy Newberry, nobody. Bruce Thornton, probably want to bring back. He's only 25. Andy Lee, I'll probably bring back because we need a punter for this rebuild. And nobody else is really on my board. Not Ken Dorsey, that's for sure. So let's bring back Andy Lee for the remainder of the rebuild. We'll offer him. He's coming back. Perfect. Let's bring back Bruce Thornton. He wants about 17.1. We'll offer him $3 million and a $2 million bonus, and he says he's coming back. So we got our extra corner. There we go. And was that everybody? I think that might have been everybody that we need to re-sign. Everybody else can kind of just go away, and we'll work on it in the off season. Retirements. What are the retirements looking like? Let's see. Joey Galloway retires. Okay, very interesting. Rodney Harrison, Corey Dillon, Troy Brown, Kevin Mawe. Tom Nalen, so our center that we signed last offseason because we couldn't get, what's-his-face, LaCharles Bentley, he now retires after one season here. He's like, I can't do this anymore. Not for this bad team. Marvin Harrison retires. Willie Rofe. Kurt Warner. Okay, very interesting. Mushin Muhammad retires. Brad Johnson. Deion Sanders. Okay. Very, very intriguing retirement class. And now we move to the... Actually, we could take a look at the mock draft before we go on to free agency. We've got Joe Thomas available, Patrick Willis. They have us taking Patrick Willis, which is who I would probably want to take. But there's so many good players in this draft class. You've got Darrelle Revis. You've got Megatron, obviously, who we took in the Saints rebuild. You've got Lawrence Timmons. You've got, at the top, you got Greg Olsen, Adrian Peterson, Joe Thomas, like I said. So there's a lot of good players in this draft class that we could take, and I don't really know where to go with it. I probably want to take Patrick Willis, but maybe we can get away with taking a couple other guys. I don't know if we can get another first-round pick. It'd be pretty tough. What's the free agent class looking like in year number 2? It is D'Angelo Hall, 25 years old. Star development. Bob Sanders, 26. Okay, now we're talking. Phillip Rivers. Yeah, Phillip Rivers. Wow, this is a very good free agency class. I'm liking it a lot. I'm liking it a whole lot. We don't need a quarterback. We're going to ride with Rodgers. Running back. Don't really need anybody here. Receiving-wise, Terrell Owens. We did sign Terrell Owens in the Saints rebuild. I'm not going to do that here. But we could get maybe Chris Chambers or Wes Welker. Those two could be very good number 3s. That could be interesting. I think I'll put an offer on Chris Chambers to get another nice receiver. 84 overall. He's not that bad. We were in the hunt for him. That's good. Tight ends, I don't like anybody that's here. Dan Campbell. Trey Thomas. I think it's Trey. Is it Tra? I think it's Trey. I don't really like any of the tackles there. This guy though, Vince Manuwai or Manuwai. I apologize, but you probably are going to be on my team. I'm going to offer you a contract at left guard. We're going to raise it to 3 years. We're going to raise the money just a little bit. That's a lot for a guard, but you're only 26. And we are ahead of the Cardinals. You love to see it. Center. Do we need a center now? We probably don't. Actually, we probably do. Let me get Kreutz. The big O for the Bears. We'll offer him a contract. So that's 3 out of 5. The rest of the offensive line. Defensive line. D tackles. Booger McFarland is there. I remember trying to get Booger last time. All right, outside linebackers, middle linebackers. There's Vrabel, D'Angelo Hall. I still would be super excited to get, and so would it'd be awesome to get Bob Sanders. Even Eric Coleman would be awesome, just because he's a freaking star development player. But we only have 2 options left, so we have to make them worthwhile. And do we go with Robert Mathis? He's got 10 teams. I don't think we can outbid for those 10 teams. That'd just be a waste. So let's move on from that. Is it going to be D'Angelo Hall and Bob Sanders? It might be. Let's offer for D'Angelo Hall and Bob Sanders. Let's see what we can do here. So let's work some money. Offer him a big bag for 4 years. D'Angelo Hall. That's going to have to raise it up even more. I'll go to 13 and 10. We'll see what that does. 13 and 10 puts us ahead of the Seahawks, but that's not always a guarantee. And then Bob Sanders, I'll go in and offer for. We'll offer him 10.5, and we'll offer him 8.5. What does he say to that? He likes it a lot. So that's all of our offers. Let's go to the targeted. We've got D'Angelo Hall, Bob Sanders, Vince Manuwai, Olin Kreutz, and Chris Chambers. Is everybody going to sign with us? Everybody's made their decision. We didn't get any of them? D'Angelo Hall signs with the Seahawks. Bob Sanders signs with the Buccaneers. And Manuwai signs with the Texans. Wow, we didn't literally get anybody. That's crazy. I thought we'd at least get the guard. We didn't get any of them. That's insane. Winfield is still on the board. That's insane. That's crazy. We didn't get any of those guys. I thought we would at least get the guard, man. We are battling for Antoine Winfield, Sr. Let's offer him a good amount of money. See what that has to say. That jumps us ahead. Oh, Vrabel got taken. Scott Vegeta is still here. Trent Cole. Is Trent Cole really the guy that we go for? Maybe. Maybe he is. Casey Hampton. Man, I really thought we would get the guard. I really did. We're still working on Kreutz. He hasn't signed anywhere yet. Chris Chambers hasn't decided either. Let's just go with our targeted guys. These are what we're going with. Everybody but Kreutz is signed. We got Winfield and we got Chambers. What about Kreutz? We didn't get him. God, this stupid game, man. Just accept my offers. I'm offering you a good amount of money. Accept my freaking offers. So we bring in another receiver. We got 3 really good receivers, and we bring in Antoine Winfield, who is going to be a nice veteran safety for us for the next 3 years. Oh, that's so frustrating. We could have had such a good offensive line if we would have brought those guys in. I am going to see if we can make a trade for a top pick, another top pick. What's the team looking like? Julian Peterson's a 96 overall. He is having a fantastic couple of seasons in simulation. Fred Beasley, why are you a fullback that's making a lot of money and is a high overall? We don't need you. Or do we? We don't need a fullback, I wouldn't think. But is there a fullback that can get us... Can he get us a good player? Maybe. He can get us Manning. He can get us Shanko, who's a good tight end. You know what? Straight up for the Panthers, I'll take it. Straight up with the Panthers. We get a freaking good tight end, actually. 79 overall. We'll take it. Wide receiving room looks really, really good. I like it. Running back room with Frank Gore to 85 overall now. Our center position, we don't have anybody, and we don't have a right guard. Okay, that's scary. We could trade Marquise Douglas, but Marquise Douglas has played really well for us. We have some good corners now. We have a lot of good corners now. Ahmed Plummer I'm going to keep around, but Shante Spencer I could trade. So let's trade Shante Spencer and maybe Sean Springs. We could trade the both of them. And we could trade... Who was the other guy? Marquise Douglas. What can we get for these guys? We can get Booger McFarland. We can get Simeon Rice. There's LaCharles Bentley. We do need a center. We can get some good deals. Richard Seymour. Nnamdi Asamoah. Okay, we can get some good offers for these guys. These guys got good value. The Bengals want all three of them. They have pick 13 in the draft, but they also have Chad Johnson. I want to do it so bad. I really want to do it. I really want to do it. Chad Johnson to the 49ers. I don't even know if this will go through. No, it didn't. Okay. Okay. I didn't think it would go through. I just wanted to try it. Just got to throw it out there. So who's got a top pick in the draft? The Texans do, I think. The Vikings do. The Jets have the 2nd overall pick. Let's try to get the Texans pick 4. They want all 3 of these guys. What about if I don't give you Spencer? They're gonna need. They're not. It's not even gonna take just Spencer. Spencer wasn't the deal breaker there. All 3 of them for pick 4 does not go through. Okay, so pick 4 is probably off the table, but they have pick 12. All 3 of those guys for pick 12 does not push it through. I thought that might. What about if I give you a 5th round pick next year? No. I just don't think that we're going to get a top pick for these 3 guys. Definitely not top 15. What about maybe the Bears want him? The Bears want pick 14. What's it going to take? I don't want to go too far down the board. Pick 25 from the Cardinals? That's a little too high, I think. I think we can get like 22 or something. Let's find out. Pick 19, pick 28. There's pick 22 from the Ravens. There we go. I figured we could get pick 22. So we have 2 first-round picks now. This team is okay. I'm not feeling that confident now going into this offseason. We need to get a center. So we need to sign. Can't sign him. Who's available? Is there a start development center that's available? These are all very bad options, so let's not go for them. Let's just go for this guy who is at least interested. I'll offer you a contract. And then we will go to signings. Did we sign you? Yes, we did. So at least we have a center now. Oh, we need a right guard too. That's right. We don't have any right guards. So I will go into free agency and sign a right guard as well. I almost forgot about that. It's a good thing I thought about it. All right, let's go to right guards. Available. Anybody that's decent? No, nobody that's decent. So let's just sign this old guy. Sure, Adam Timmerman. Welcome to the team. You're probably going to sign with us, I would expect. Yes, you do. So now the offensive line is filled, at least. That's good. We don't have to worry about that. Okay. Well, that's not how the offseason, or how the free agency I expected it to go. I expected us to be able to sign the guys. I mean, I wasn't offering just like bad contracts at all. I was offering at least what I thought was good contracts. I guess not. I guess they didn't like my contracts that much. Whatever, man. Whatever. Private workouts. With having 2 first-round picks, it's good, but we're just not going to be able to get, like, Patrick Willis and Darrelle Revis and Joe Thomas, and, like, we can't get everybody, obviously, or Adrian Peterson. But we definitely are going to get Patrick Willis. I think that's who I'm going to take with my pick. So we're going to get Patrick Willis. We don't need to use our thing on him. I'll use my stuff on Joe Staley. No. We know Joe Staley's going to be good. I'll use my stuff on... Who do we not think is going to be that great? Man, there's a lot of good players in this class. A lot of good players in this class. Dwayne Bowe. Very interesting. Leon Hall. I'll use it on Leon Hall. I'll use it on Alan Branch. And I'll use it on... Ooh, Ted Ginn? Yeah, Ted Ginn. Sure, those will be the 3 guys that I use the private workouts on. Because some of those other guys we know are going to be very good, so we don't have to waste our private workouts on them. Go into the draft with a top 3 pick. We're not going to be able to get anybody massive except for Patrick Willis. So the Vikings have the first pick in the draft. Obviously, this year they took Adrian Peterson. They will take Jamarcus Russell with the first overall pick. So even in a fantasy world, he goes number 1 overall. Second goes Joe Thomas to the Jets. And now we're up. And we can take Patrick Willis, which is who we're going to take. Although Darrelle Revis is on the board, and he's very good. But we need Patrick Willis on this team. Welcome to the squad, Patrick. So now we have DeQuell Jackson and Patrick Willis, who I think are going to help, and Julian Peterson. So that linebacking core looks very good. Lamar Woodley goes. Lions take Peterson. Saints take Gaines Adams. The Buccaneers get Greg Olsen. Amobi Okoye goes to the Bills. Justin Harrell goes to the Broncos. Darrelle Revis falls to the Jaguars. Anthony Spencer, Dolphins. Jamal Anderson to the Texans. Adam Carricker goes to the Bengals. Joe Staley to the Bears. Megatron to the Commanders. Aaron Ross to the Chiefs. Christopher Houston, Cowboys. We're coming up on our next pick. Eric Wright, Rams. Jason Alford, Packers. Justin Durant, Steelers. And Anthony Waters, Titans. So, sucks that Megatron went, but I didn't think we were going to get him anyway. Still some very good options here. Levi Brown, Aaron Sears, Benjamin Grubbs. Ben Grubbs, obviously. Ryan Khalil. I might take Ryan Khalil because we do need a center. We only signed the free agent center for a couple seasons. So getting Ryan Khalil could be the move. And there's still some good ones down the board. Still some good players down the board. So I think we're going to take Ryan Khalil, lock up that center position for the rest of the rebuild. Where is he at? There he is. Ryan Khalil, stud center. Only normal development. That kind of shocks me a little bit. But he's going to be our starting center, I would assume. Seahawks take Jerome Burchard. Zach Miller goes to the Eagles. Dwayne Bowe to the Cardinals. Brian Harris to the Chargers. Levi Brown, Colts. Jarvis Moss, Panthers. Jonathan Beeson, Giants. Tony Ugo? Don't know how to pronounce his name, but he goes to the Patriots. Laurent Landry goes to the Falcons. Brandon Merriweather to the Raiders. Justin Blaylock, Vikings. And Jets get Ben Grubbs. Now we're up again in the second round. And what do we need? We need to get something. Lawrence Timmons could be good. Obviously, Ted Ginn would be awesome. Scott Chandler. Paul Posluszny. I think I might get Paul Posluszny, actually. But he might fall. There's Marshawn Lynch. Oh, I don't know. Ted Ginn feels like the right move. He feels like the right move. The tackles and guards don't really seem to be that great. Marshall Yanda's there. What's his projection? 3 to 4. Alan Branch, I do kind of want to get. David Harris. There's Posluszny. Eric Weddle. There's some good players in this class that I kind of want to get, but I don't know when to take them. I think I might take Alan Branch. Let me go back and take a look at the lineup. I need to see what we have and what we need. So if we go to, not the defense yet, if we go to the offense, Brandon Marshall has superstar development, so we have 3 really good receivers, so Ted Ginn really wouldn't fit too much. He really wouldn't fit too much. We do need a backup running back, which could be Marshawn Lynch. And we need a quarterback, too. D-tackle, we're going to have Patrick Willis start. DeQuell Jackson starting at middle linebacker, and then Julian Peterson, obviously. Corner, we're good with. We could use a pass rusher. Okay, so we don't need Alan Branch because the D-tackle spot is pretty good. So Alan Branch is off the board. But we could use, I mean, Lawrence Timmons would be good, but we don't need a linebacker, especially because we got Patrick Willis. So maybe taking Ted Ginn would be the best option, but would he even play? Would Ted Ginn even play? I don't know. Because then Marshawn's there. I don't want to spend a second-round pick, a high second-round pick, on a backup running back or a backup middle linebacker. I think I'm going to take Ted Ginn. He's got the freakish speed. Ted Ginn, 97 speed. He could end up being, hopefully, a very good option for us. I just didn't want to spend a top of the second-round pick on a backup like Lawrence Timmons would have been. But I could trade back into the second round to take Posluszny or the other guy that we were talking about. That could be an option. So let's simulate down. David Harris gets taken. Jonathan Wade. Kenny Irons. James Martin. Aaron House. Marshawn was the other guy that was. There goes Posluszny. I think I'm going to trade up to get Marshawn Lynch. Although he's down the board a little bit. I hope I don't screw it up. I wanted to take Posluszny. Let's simulate a little bit further. Robert Meacham. I should have traded. Marshawn goes. I should have traded. What was I thinking? I was pressing my luck too much. Pressing my luck too much. I should have just traded. I knew that he was going to go. We do need a quarterback, a backup quarterback, but I'm not going to take a third-round pick, use a third-round pick on a quarterback. So we need to get a backup, and Chris Henry is available. Although I could just take Antonio Pittman and make him a running back, since that's what he was. It sucks, man. I really thought that I could press my luck there, but I should have just traded up when I knew that's who I wanted to take. Did Haloti Ngata get taken? I don't think he did. Or Haloti Ngata. Marshall Yanda is still here. Let's take Marshall Yanda. We'll take Marshall Yanda with a third round pick. Absolutely sick that we didn't get either Posluszny or Marshawn. Next up, we've got Doug Free still available. The D tackle that I was looking for, Paul Soliai, he's gone. Middle linebackers are not that great. I might just let the simulation handle the rest of this. Although I can take my quarterback now. I don't feel that bad about taking a quarterback. Let's take Drew Stanton, sure. Drew Stanton in the 4th round. He's not going to ever play for us, but we need a backup quarterback. So let's let the CPU do the rest of the draft. Whoops, I didn't mean to go to just a user pick. Let's skip to the end of the draft. We only have 2 more picks, so it's not going to matter too much. And then we head into the 3rd season. I'm going to change the playbook. I'm a little less confident now headed into the 3rd season than I was headed into the 2nd season. I thought we'd be a little bit better. I guess not. Draft recap. We've got 89 overall Patrick Willis. That's insane. 77 for Ryan Khalil. 84 for Ted Ginn. 76 for Marshall Yanda. Drew Stanton's a 65. They drafted Sean Golston, who was a 76, and then Thomas Clayton, a running back. So, I mean, that's pretty good. I'll take it. The highest overall player was Adrian Peterson, 91. Then Patrick Willis, Darrell Revis, Greg Olson, Calvin Johnson, Marshawn Lynch. We should have got Marshawn. We should have got Marshawn. I wanted him. I really, really wanted him. All right, I will see you guys at the playoffs for year number 3. And hopefully it is involving us for the first time in the rebuild. So I'll see you guys then. Okay, so we make it to the playoffs of year number 3, and we finally are in the playoffs. I changed the playbook to the Green Bay Packer playbook, and it seems like that might have helped a little bit. I don't know. We got to take a look at these stats, but we went 12-5. We won the division, and we are in the wild card round, so that kind of sucks. But hey, we are in the playoffs for the first time in this 5-year simulation. And Rodgers, how did he do? 4,200 yards, 35 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. That's more along the lines of what Alex Smith had been throwing. So we'll see what Alex Smith did, but that's a pretty good season from Rodgers. Frank Gore had 1,100 yards and 14 touchdowns. Rodgers still scrambling, not as much as he did last year, but still decent amounts. Brandon Lloyd and Ted Ginn Jr. both had 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns for Brandon Lloyd. Ted Ginn had 8. Chambers had 6. Brandon Marshall had 1. Then defensively, we had 106 tackles from our new addition, Antoine Winfield. 5 tackles for loss, a sack, and 2 picks. 99 tackles for Tony Parrish. DeQuell Jackson, 98. Patrick Willis in his rookie season at 80 and 10. I changed him to a middle linebacker so that he would play because I changed the defensive scheme. We're now running a 3-4, so we didn't have another middle linebacker, so I needed to make him a middle linebacker. So Patrick Willis is now with DeQuell as middle linebackers. Julian Peterson had another crazy season with 14.5 sacks. Actually insane. Bryant Young, who is probably going to retire, 15.5 sacks. Very good. Mari Williams will get the start over him then. DeQuell Jackson, 3 interceptions. Sam Madison had 3. So Plummer went from 7 to 2, which, I mean, isn't shocking, but it does kind of suck that he dropped down that much. How did Alex Smith do? 4,600 yards, 34 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Alex Smith is having a fantastic career in Green Bay. We've only done 3 seasons, and he's had 2 really amazing ones. Where did the Packers finish? They've been in the playoffs all 3 years. They were the 3 seed. So if we win, the only way that we can play them is... Actually, that's not true. Because if they beat the Bears and the Eagles, or if the Bucks beat the Eagles, we would play the higher of the 2 seeds, which would be the Packers. So we would play the Packers in the divisional round. The Giants would play the lower seed. So there is a possibility, it's not likely, but there is a possibility that we could play the Packers in the next round. But we have to get to the second round as well. We have to get to the divisional against the Arizona Cardinals. This is what the team is looking like. It's looking pretty good. I moved Marshall Yanda to right guard, so he will back up Timmerman and probably start over Timmerman next season, I would think. The wide receivers are looking good. Frank Gore, I wish he would be up to start development, but he's not. Defensively, everybody's looking really good. I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. And we'll go into the simulation here. Let's see if we can beat the Cardinals. Come on, man. First playoff game of the series. Give me a W against Arizona. We lose 24-10. We lost 24-10. We will not play the freaking guys. That kind of sucks. Oh, I thought we'd be able to do it. But hey, we're making progress. We just went from a 3rd overall pick to a playoff team and won the division. So there's still a lot of hope that we could win a Super Bowl here in these next 2 seasons, these last 2 seasons that we have. But first, before we get to like retirements and stuff, I'm going to be a little cheeky and I'm going to trade Bryant Young and get something for him because I think he's going to retire this year. So we're going to be a little bit of cheating the system here, but it doesn't matter because I don't know what we can get for him. Anything would be better than just losing him to retirement. So what can we get? Anything that's worth anything? Schlegel. We do need another linebacker. That wouldn't be too bad. I might take Schlegs. Yeah, it looks like I'm going to take Schlegs because there's nothing really else that I want. So let's take Anthony Schlegel. We need another linebacker. He can be very versatile. Let's take him. And we end up getting something for Bryant Young, who is probably going to end up retiring. So I'm not hating that. Patriots and Eagles in the Super Bowl. Hopefully this goes different than the one in real life, and the Patriots win it. Can Brady get a ring? He can't. Eagles beat them 27-17. That just makes me want to throw up in my mouth. Disgusting, but whatever. We go to the staff signing season recap. Anything good? Donovan McNabb is your MVP of the Super Bowl. Chris Sims won the MVP of the league. Belichick won Coach of the Year. Chad Johnson and Derek Johnson won Offensive Defensive Player of the Year. Adrian Peterson and Lawrence Timmons won the Offensive Rookie of the Year, both for the Lions. So the Lions had both Rookies of the Year. Good for them. That's good drafting. That is very good drafting by them. We had a chance to take Lawrence Timmons. I think we took Ted Ginn instead. But Ted Ginn had a good year, so can't be too mad about that. But moving on to renegotiations, I don't really know who's going to be here. Julian Peterson definitely got to re-sign by $127 million, dear Lord. But he's worth it. He's a 97 overall. Gotta bring him back. Brandon Lloyd gotta bring back. Oh, we aren't gonna have any money. We've been so happy not having so much money in the previous couple seasons, but now we're not gonna have any. I'm gonna have to so overpay for Julian Peterson because he doesn't really want to be here at all. How's that offer? He enjoyed playing. We're gonna tag him. We're gonna tag him. We can't lose an X factor on defense. Brandon Lloyd, I'm gonna have to overpay for you as well. I should have just paid you last year instead of picking up your fifth-year option. How's that? He's excited to come back, so thank God we don't have to use the franchise tag on Brandon Lloyd. Let's see. Ahmed Plummer's down to star, but it wouldn't hurt bringing him back. There's a couple guys that we could bring back. Let's just go use the franchise tag on Peterson because there's nobody else that I would use it on. So $22 million for Peterson for one season. Hopefully next year we can bring him back. Let's see. Ahmed Plummer I want to bring back, and he's not super expensive. So if I sign him to a 2-year contract, that should keep him around for the rest of the rebuild. He thinks that free agency is going to be a better offer. Whatever. Whatever, man. Anthony Adams wants to be here. I would like to have you back. So let's see that. He's happy to sign. Awesome. Jonas Jennings and Anthony Clements. Clements a little cheaper, so we'll go for him and offer him a contract. They both want to be here. He's coming back. I think we'll just let Jonas Jennings walk. I don't have a problem with that. So I tagged, hold on. I tagged the guy, right? I think so. Retirements, Gus Farad, Jonathan Ogden, Leonard Little, Chandler Jones. I didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to back out. We still have $142 million, so it's not like we don't have any money. Flanagan, Ty Law, Vrabel retires. Timmerman retires, so that means what's-his-face is going to go up to start Marshall Yonda. Sam Madison also retires. Bryant Young, he does retire, so we got Schlegel out of it. I'll take that. Larry Allen, Will Shields, Simeon Rice. Some big names. Some more big names retiring. Okay, let me quickly check and make sure I didn't miss anybody on the negotiations. I don't want to get screwed. Let's see. Owen, Staley, Plummer's not going to come back. Jonas Jennings. Okay, I think I got everybody that I wanted to come back. Let's move on to free agency. We're probably going to have a middle of the round first round pick, which is not great, but we're not trying to build through the draft anymore. We're trying to build through free agency because we're in our winning window and Chris Gamble is here and he doesn't want to be here. Ooh, wow, okay. Dallas Clark, James Harrison. An X Factor corner would be freaking amazing. Don't need a quarterback. Running back, Ricky Williams at 31. Could be a fun little backup running back to have. Wide receivers, I think we're fine with wide receivers. There's not even really anybody that's that great. Tight ends, Dallas Clark. Dallas Clark wants to be here. Do I want Dallas Clark here? Yeah, sure I want Dallas Clark here. Of course I want him here. Why not? I mean, he's a superstar development 29-year-old tight end who wants to be here. We'll give him that offer. There's Jonas Jennings. He's the best tackle in the class. And he wants to come back. Maybe I should have just re-signed him. Center. I think we're going to stick with the center that we have. Robert Gallery. Will Smith, Sean Ellis. There's Booger McFarland. Richard Seymour, Jason Taylor, but he's old. There's James Harrison. James Harrison wants to be here. I'm intrigued. I gotta put an offer on Gamble. I mean, I'd be stupid. I'd be absolutely stupid if I didn't put an offer on Chris Gamble. 93 overall X Factor at 25. The Cowboys are offering him the bag. They are offering him a bag. So we gotta offer him a bag. I will go crazy. I will offer you so much money, Chris Gamble. The Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones thinks he's got the bag. I got the bag. That's what I'm talking about. We're battling with the Cowboys. Are we going to get him? Probably not. We haven't had very much good luck with getting players in free agency this simulation. But I will also offer James Harrison a contract. Having James Harrison, Patrick Willis, DeQuell Jackson, and Julian Peterson as linebackers would be freaking amazing. So we're going to offer James Harrison. Who else is somebody that I want? Who else do we want? Oh, that's right. We wanted Ricky Williams. So let's offer Ricky Williams a contract. Nice little 2-year deal. We'll see what he says to that. And then everybody else, I don't think there's another person that we want. I mean, we could throw an offer on Jonas Jennings just to bring him back since he wants to be here. How's that? Is that better than what the Cowboys are battling with me again? Oh, I'll outbid you. I'll outbid you, Dallas. I got money to burn. I will outbid you like crazy. All right, we didn't outbid him. But let's go to targets. Please, oh please, let me win free agency this year. Everybody signed. Literally everybody's gone. If I go to the signings and there's only like one person there, I'm going to be so upset. We got Chris Gamble. We got Dallas Clark. We got James Harrison. We got Ricky Williams. And we got Jonas Jennings. We beat everybody. We beat the Cowboys. Oh, God. Okay. That makes the team a lot better. The team just got a whole lot better. And Booger McFarland didn't accept any offers yet. I mean, I'd be crazy not to offer Booger McFarland at 31 years old, superstar development for at least a season. We could have him here and then maybe trade him away if he starts to regress. We'll see what he says to that. Where's Booger at? Did I pass him? Targeted. We are ahead on the Falcons. I mean, we got Anthony McFarland too. Okay, I'm gonna stop spending money. I need to stop spending money because we need to pay Julian Peterson next year, so we got to have some sort of cap space. But having that good of a free agency, that makes up for last year's disappointing free agency. Headed into year 4, I feel a lot more confident, at least in free agency, of how this team can perform next year. Another year of Aaron Rodgers in the Packers system should help us out. We now have a solid backup running back in Ricky Williams. We have good receivers. The offensive line looks good. We brought in a new weapon for him to throw to in Dallas Clark. I'm liking the way this team looks now. Let's take an actual look at it. Let's get our eyes on it. Let's get our chubby little eyes on it. So we brought back Jennings. He's going to be left tackle. Center is probably going to be Ryan Khalil. Yonda will start at guard. We have receivers that are looking pretty good. Ted Ginn's an 87. Dallas Clark now at tight end. Offense looks good. And then the defensive line, I mean, we got Jackson and we got Willis. Harrison moves over to right end, or right outside linebacker. We just need a left end. If we can get a left end, we'll be fine. Because we don't have anybody there right now. So we need to get a left end. I guess we could move Peterson to left end if worst comes to worst and make like Rashid start over at left outside linebacker. That could be a possibility. It's not something I would want to do, but it is a possibility. So I like the way this team looks. Actually, you know what? Since we have a little bit of money left, I'm going to go and sign somebody just so we don't have a freaking 60 or 50 something overall start at left end. Just in case worst comes to worst, we don't get anybody. So who do I want to sign here? Nick Clemens could be somebody. He wants to be here. So does Darren Howard, but Darren Howard is with another team. Jimmy Wilkerson. Let's just sign Jimmy Wilkerson, sure. We'll sign him on a 1-year deal. That's fine, not super expensive. And he signed. Perfect. So at least if worst comes to worst and we don't get anybody, we have somebody who's serviceable at the left end spot. I'm happy with that. And he didn't cost too much, and he's only here for a year. So it's not a big commitment at all. Oh, 5th-year options on who? Who's the 5th-year option on? It's on Aaron Rodgers. Of course we're going to pick up Aaron Rodgers' contract. Of course we are. I don't want to pay him next year because we got to pay Julian Peterson next year. I don't want to pay him. We can postpone it to when we don't have to worry about it because we're only going 5 seasons. And this is entering year number 4. Okay. Whew. Time for the draft. I'm feeling confident. As confident as I can feel. Private workouts. Who do we got? Who do we got in private workouts? I don't know what our pick is. It's probably later in the round, so that's not a big deal. Who do we want to use the private workout on? Maybe Gerard Mayo. We need defensive linemen and offensive linemen. We need linemen, basically, both sides of the ball. So, left tackles, Ryan Clady's a round 1 projection. King Dunlap, we could sneak in the later rounds. He could end up being pretty good for us. Left guards, Carl Nix is a 3rd round guy. I'll put in a thing on him because I do like Carl Nix. Centers, we have pretty good. Right guards, we have, what's his face? I always forget his name. There's Josh Sitton, though. Dwayne Brown is around 1 to 2. Okay. Defensive lineman. Calais Campbell, definitely want to focus on Calais Campbell. And then right ends, Cliff Averill maybe. D tackles we don't really need, although there's some good ones. Keith Rivers. We could use maybe another corner. So let's go to corners. DRC. Aqib Talib, Brandon Flowers. Let's focus on Aqib Talib. So those are my 3 guys. Carl Nix, Calais Campbell, and Aqib Talib. I think that those guys, I think we can get all 3 of those guys. So I actually have a little bit of a plan headed into this draft. I should probably figure out what my draft pick is, but we'll find out when we actually load up the draft. But I feel kind of confident headed into this draft. The year 3 draft. The Texans have the number 1 pick again. We have pick 24. Okay. Pick 24 in the draft. Do I think that any of the guys that I like are going to be there? If we're taking based on the draft board, the first guy that I would be interested in is Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie. He's going to be off the board. That's not a big deal because I'm not super interested in him. Just if he's available, I'd probably take him. But Aqib Talib at pick 28. Okay, so we've got some time. We don't have to trade up, I don't think. A lot of the guys that I'm looking at are later down the board, so that's good. We can skip. First overall pick is Jake Long to the Texans. Then Chris Long goes to the Broncos. Keith Rivers to the Seahawks. Darren McFadden to the Vikings. Glenn Dorsey to the Chargers. Matt Ryan to the Panthers. Leotis McKelvin to the Steelers. Vernon Golston, Jaguars. Brandon Albert is a Saint. Falcons take Cedric Ellis. Ryan Clady goes to the Cowboys. He would have been awesome to get, but it would have been way too much to trade up for him. Jonathan Stewart's a Lion. Mike Jenkins is a Bill. DRC goes to the Jets. Not a problem. I didn't want to trade up for him anyway. Rams take Gerard Mayo. That makes me sick. Philip Merlin goes to the Commanders. Aqib Talib goes to the Raiders. Wow, I did not think he would go that high. I thought we would be ready to get him. Very interesting that Aqib Talib got taken early. Now we are up. DRC and Aqib Talib are both gone. Chris Johnson's here. Man, that hurts a little bit having him get taken. There's a lot of good wide receivers. What's the state of the cornerback room? So we got Brandon Flowers, we've got Tracy Porter, and then it drops to like round 2 to 3 guys. What is Brandon Flowers looking like? He's a okay athlete. His awareness is not great, but he's got A press. What about Tracy Porter? Tracy Porter is a better athlete than Brandon Flowers. Also bad awareness. Tracy Porter's the better athlete, but Brandon Flowers is the better player? Wow, this is a tough choice with our first round pick. I don't really know where to go. I would have just taken Aqib Talib. I thought that would be the easier thing to do. We have to make sure that we get Calais Campbell. We have to make sure that we get him. Carl Nix is a day 3 projection. Dustin Keller. I don't really want to take a tight end. We already have a tight end. There's some good receiver options. And then Chris Johnson's here. But do we really use our first round pick on a running back who wouldn't even start over Frank Gore? I think we trade out of this pick. We could probably get something good for it. At least I hope. Excuse me. Can we get a first round pick this year and next year? Probably not. It'll probably just be next year picks. We can go back to pick 32 with the Eagles and get... Ooh, but the Patriots offered me a first and a second. I might do that. Yeah. Let's trade the Patriots. We'll take 31, and we get a second round pick as well this year, so that helps us out a little bit. I just didn't think that there was anything at that spot that we wanted to take. There goes Chris Johnson. There goes Brandon Flowers. So I guess if Porter's there at pick 31, he will be there. You know what? At pick 31, I feel more comfortable taking Tracy Porter, especially with Brandon Flowers gone. So, although Dwayne Brown's here. Tracy Porter's a little bit further down the board. Let's take Dwayne Brown. I just changed mid-decision, but we're taking Dwayne Brown with the first round pick. I like that. And if Tracy Porter's gone, he's gone. I'm not super upset about that. Deshaun Jackson goes to the Broncos. Jordy Nelson goes. Are we going to have a run on receivers? It looks like we're going to have a run on receivers. There goes Dustin Keller, Kenny Phillips, Felix Jones, James Hardy, Eddie Royal. What's the draft board looking like? Rashad Mendenhall. Tracy Porter is coming up. I'm assuming he's going to be gone. But if we skip to our next pick, who's going to be there? We have 2 second-round picks because thanks to the Patriots trade. Tracy Porter is there. So if we want him, we can take him. How is the offensive line looking? What about Calais? Calais is still there. I do not want to fumble the Calais bag like I did with the Saints. I don't want to fumble it. So Carl Nix is still there. We still have some time. I'm going to take Tracy Porter. He might not end up being good for us, but we didn't take him in the first round. I feel much better taking that in the second round because he's a very good athlete. I feel much better taking that in the second round than the first round, especially because we got Dwayne Brown. So I'm not going to fumble the Calais Campbell bag this time. I'm going to take him with this pick. As long as the Ravens don't take him. Okay, I'm going to take him. I don't care. I'm not going to let him fall to the third round. Calais Campbell will be on my team. I don't care. That might be a little bit of a reach, but we're going to take him. Calais Campbell, welcome to the 49ers. I was not going to fumble that bag. Not 2 rebuilds in a row. I'm not going to fumble the Calais Campbell bag. So now we don't have a pick till the third round, pick 24. What is on the board for this pick? We got to look at offensive line. That's right. We got to look at offensive line. Carl Nix still here. Josh Sitton's still here. Okay. So let's take a quick look around the rest of the board, see if there's anybody that we need to take before we take Carl Nix. And it doesn't look like there is anybody. Maybe Charles Godfrey. But maybe not. Cody Walsh, John Sullivan. We're taking Carl Nix. He might not be good, but he could be good. He's hidden development. That's good enough. That's good enough for me. Carl Nix, welcome to the squad. Into the fourth round now at pick 24. Who is going to be on the board? Tyvon Branch, Jacob Taman, Gary Barnage. There's Charles Godfrey. Let's take Charles Godfrey with this pick in the fourth round. He is normal development, but he's a very good athlete. So the corner and the safety that we took don't have hidden development, but they are very, very good athletes. And I'm going to go to the end of the draft. I think that was a pretty solid pick. It was a pretty solid fourth-year draft because we are entering This is the 4th year of simulation here. Right? Yeah, we just finished up the 3rd year. So that was the 3rd draft. I'm getting all screwed up. So we have Dwayne Brown, 75 overall. Yeah, if we would have taken Tracy Porter with our first round pick, I would have been so upset about that. 72 for Calais Campbell, 73 for Carl Nix, 69 for Godfrey. Nice. They took Justin Forsett. They took some corner from Colorado and a wide receiver. I don't hate that. All right, let's take a look at what the rest of the league did. The highest overall player in the class was Deshaun Jackson. He went in the 2nd round. Chris Johnson, 80 overall. All right. I don't hate that. Good draft. I feel confident, especially with the free agency that we had. I think we can make a big run into the postseason. Another year of development for Aaron Rodgers. I think we can really make a big run in the postseason. This is the 4th year of simulation, and this is what the team looks like headed into the 4th year. We've got Rodgers at star development. I wish he would go up to superstar. We've got Frank Gore, pretty solid receiving core, big 4 right there. Then we've got Jennings, Bass, Garode, Yonda, and Clement. But we've got some solid backups in Dwayne Brown, Ryan Khalil, and Carl Nix. The tight end now looks good with Dallas Clark. And then on defense, linebackers look really awesome. We're going to have to re-sign Peterson this season. Corners now look even better with Gamble. I like the defensive line. I'm going to start Calais Campbell over Wilkerson. Mario Williams on the right end. I like this team. I like this team a lot. I think that we could do something in year 4. I really do. So I'm going to see you guys at the playoffs, and I'm hoping that we're not involved in the wild card because we won the division and we're the best team in the NFC. That's the hope. We'll see what happens. I'll see you then. We make it through the 4th year of simulation, and we went 8-9 and didn't make the playoffs. I'm not sure how that happened, but it happened, and we are not involved. The Packers are, but we are not involved. Aaron Rodgers just not cooking the way that I thought he would. 4,200 yards, 29 touchdowns, 8 interceptions is a very good stat line, but it needs to be better. And I don't know what to do. Frank Gore, 982 yards, 17 touchdowns for him. 1,300 yards and 13 touchdowns for Brandon Lloyd. Chris Chambers had 986 and 4. Ted Ginn had 916 and 5. Dallas Clark had 636 and 3. Defensively, 128 tackles from Patrick Willis. Dear Lord. DeQuell Jackson had 102. James Harrison had 91. The linebacking room is fine. Sack leaders, 12 for Anthony McFarland, 11 for James Harrison. Peterson finally dropped down to 9. Anthony Adams had 9. Mario Williams had 1.5. 3 for Patrick Willis interceptions. Mike Adams had 3 as well. So did Winfield. 2 for Gamble. I always back out. How did what's his face do? Alex Smith. 4,500 yards, 33 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Another solid season. He's had 3 years as a starter, and he's had 3 very solid seasons as the Green Bay Packers starter. Whatever, man. Sucks that we're not involved in the Super Bowl or in the playoffs at all. We've only made the playoffs in 1 season, and we only have 1 more year left to go. So we're going to have to win a Super Bowl here in the next season. The thing is, I think this team is very good. We're just not winning games in simulation, and I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why we're not winning games in simulation. It's Cardinals, Patriots in the Super Bowl, so maybe the Patriots can get some revenge for losing to the Eagles last year. Are they going to do it? They do. They win the Super Bowl. Good for them. I'm happy. Makes me happy. If I couldn't have won it, I'm glad the Patriots did. But it sucks that we are not involved in the playoffs at all. No, I don't want to quit. No, I don't want to quit. Let's see the recap. Who won the MVP? Was it Brady? It was Brady. Michael Vick wins the MVP of the league. Darren Young wins the Coach of the Year for the Jaguars. Torrey Holt and Joey Porter are the Offense-Defense Players of the Year. And Joe Flacco, who led his team to the Super Bowl, he was on the Cardinals. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year is Trevor Laws. A very disappointing season considering I had high hopes, thinking that I was going to go to the playoffs. I mean, this team seems to be pretty good. I don't know what the problem is. I can't do much more. I mean, I changed the playbook. I adjusted the schemes. We just need to have our players simulate well. I don't know what the problem is. We have to re-sign Julian Peterson. Luckily, this time he's a little bit cheaper, I think. We got to re-sign Frank Gore. We got to re-sign not anybody else. Let's re-sign Peterson. He doesn't want to be here again, but I want you to be here. So I'm going to have to offer you so much money. I guess I could franchise tag you again, but maybe that would even be cheaper than offering you this much money. You weren't even that great. He thinks, why does he not want to sign? I'm offering him so much money. I'm offering him so much money, and he just doesn't want to sign. We'll offer Frank Gore a big-time bag. He kind of wants to be here. His interest level is maxed out, so he wants to be here, and he's going to come back. So we bring him back. Frank Gore is back for the final time here. $24 million. So I guess that's cheaper than what we would have had to pay him if we would have actually signed him to a contract. So, and there's nobody else that I want to bring back, except for maybe Shanko. Let's bring him back just so we have a backup tight end that is serviceable behind Dallas Clark. I know it's probably a little bit too much money. Oh, he doesn't even want to come back. He says, no, thank you. I will not come back. We'll offer Bajema. Maybe Bajema wants to come back. We just need a backup tight end who's serviceable. We don't need anything crazy. He's happy to come back. Fine. Perfect. That's awesome. Exactly what we wanted. And then retirements. What are the retirements looking like? Anybody of note? Jason Taylor, Orlando Pace, Mike Flynn, Isaac Bruce, Terry Glenn, Tony Gonzalez, Derek Brooks, Teddy Bruschi, Terrell Owens. All right. Jerome Bettis. Very, very cool. Very cool. Let's go to free agency and see what we got. The final year of free agency. What can we do? What can we do? Only $28 million in cap space, so not near as much as we've had in the past. But at this point, we don't really need to have a ton of cap space because we just need to fill out the team. What is the team looking like? What are our big needs this year? Rodgers is still a start development player. Khalil will start at center. Yonda starts at right guard. Nick starts at left guard. Dwayne Brown's a superstar development player. Brandon Lloyd's gone up to superstar. I mean, the receiving core, the offense looks fine. The offense looks fine. The defense also looks fine. I don't really know what we need. I don't know. Just like good players, I guess. Just high overalls. Maybe we could use, is there a higher left guard? I mean, there is a higher left guard, but he doesn't really want to be here. And we'd probably have to way overpay to get him here. We don't need a quarterback. We don't need a running back. We don't need receivers. Tight end, I'm fine with having Dallas Clark. Left tackle, we're fine with. Left guard, I mean, there's a couple good left guards available, but they don't want to be here, so I don't know what to do. Maybe we offer him a decent contract and see what he says. See what he says. It is battling with the Bears. Are we going to get him? I don't know. Center. I could use a backup center, actually. So let's get this guy. He wants to be here and on a cheap contract for just one season. We need a backup center. Right tackle we're good with. Left end. I mean, we have Calais Campbell, so we'll stick with him. D tackle we're pretty good with. Right end, we've got Mario Williams. Outside linebacker, we're fine. Middle linebacker, we're fine. Other outside, we're good. Charles Woodson is here at corner. But at this point, we don't really need corner. We have some pretty good corners. And the free safeties are not better than what we have. And the strong safety is not better than what we have. So, I mean, there's not really a whole lot to go for this year. Our two targets are a backup, or a starting left guard and a backup center. We'll evaluate and see what happens. We get the backup center, but we are now battling with a couple other guys for this starting left guard. So I'll offer him some more money so that he accepts. We'll see what that does. That is putting us second on the board. Are we going to get him? We did. We pulled it out of the way. So we got a new left guard, a starting left guard, and a backup center. I know we have Carl Nix, but he's just too low of an overall for this final season. So bringing in that starting, or that 88 overall is going to be, I think, a little bit better. Especially with these two guys, or the rest of the offensive line having pretty low overalls too. But I'm hoping that this team can do well. The defense doesn't really need help at this point. I think we're fine. We'll just go to the draft, and we will see We will see what we got. I'm assuming our pick is going to be like in the teens because they didn't make the playoffs. But for the final season, I feel like Alex Smith has done better. I mean, they've made the playoffs every single year that he's been the quarterback, and they even made the playoffs with Brett Favre that year. But they haven't made the Super Bowl. So they haven't done too much better than us. Fifth-year options for Mario Williams. We'll pick it up. It doesn't matter because we're not going to go any further than the end of the season next year. But we will pick up his fifth-year option. And we will move on to free agency recap. Okay. Where do we go in the draft? Where do we go in the draft? I don't really know. I don't really know where I'm going. Private workouts. All right. Private workouts. Clay Matthews. Not going to be able to get him. BJ Raji. Let's use one on BJ Raji. Let's use one on Brian Arakpo, maybe. Probably need to focus on offensive linemen, I would think. That's really the only weakness I'd say that we have. So, Michael Orr. Left guard we just signed. Maybe Alex Mack. Is that where we go? I think that's where we go. Confirm. BJ Raji, Michael Orr, Alex Mack. We'll see what happens. I don't know where we pick. Let's take a look at the mock draft, see where we pick. The final mock draft has us. The Jets taking Mark Sanchez, number 1. That's funny. We pick at number 13, taking BJ Raji. And then our other pick is... We have 2 first-round picks, right? Did we not have 2 first-round picks? I could have sworn I traded for a second first-round pick. 13. Did I not trade for a second first-round pick? I thought that I did. I know that I traded with the Patriots to get a first-round pick that same season, so I'm not thinking about that. But I could have sworn that I made a trade for a first-round pick the next season. I guess not. Yeah, I only have 1 first-round pick. Huh. That's crazy. I thought I made a trade for a first-round pick. Whatever. That's weird, but I guess I didn't. So we'll go to the draft. We pick at pick 13. We can get somebody pretty good. We can get somebody pretty good with pick 13. Maybe it's an offensive lineman. It could be BJ Raji, I guess, but it could be an offensive lineman. Will the Jets take Mark Sanchez? They will. It's all is right in the world. The Sanchez is headed back to New York. Clay Matthews to the Vikings. Matthew Stafford to the Texans. Phillip Harris to the Lions. Beanie Wells to the Saints. Chiefs take Aaron Curry. The Giants get Jeremy Maclin. Robert Ayers goes to the Dolphins. Eugene Monroe goes to the Rams. Eagles take Ladarius Webb. BJ Raji goes ahead of us to the Bears. And Malcolm Jenkins goes to the Panthers. So we can't take BJ Raji, which is okay. I probably wouldn't have taken him. I don't know. I don't know where I would have went. Brian Arakpo is still on the board, but linebacker's not necessarily a big issue. There are some good receivers in Percy Harvin, Darius Hayward-Bay, and Michael Crabtree, but we don't really need receiver. We need offensive linemen. And Sebastian Vollmer and Alex Mack are probably where we go. I think Alex Mack is more of a need. So let's take Alex Mack. I think that's more of a need. Hopefully he's got a high overall where he can start right away. I hope that's not a bad pick. Sebastian Vollmer goes to the Broncos. I didn't expect him to be in the second round. Speaking of the second round, we are now here. And Darius Hayward-Bay is still on the board. Kenny Britt. Brandon Pettigrew. Ray Maluga. Phil Lodeholt. Okay, so there's some good players. James Laurinaitis as well. I missed out on James Laurinaitis last time. I don't know if I want to miss out on him again. But also, Phil Lodeholt's here. I think I want to take him. I think I'm going to take Phil. He's only a normal development, but he could be a very high overall. I'm hoping. And if James Laurinaitis is not on the board, that's okay. But I wanted to get offensive. Offensive line's more of a need than linebacker is. And it seems like James Laurinaitis is off the board. That's okay. I'm not super upset about that. Darius Hayward-Bay is still on the board, though. Maybe in another flashback we take, or another what-if video we take him. Darius Hayward-Bay, 95 speed, 95 excel. In the 3rd round, it's not a bad pick, especially because he's super fast. Head into the 4th round. This will probably be our final pick before we let the CPU take the rest. And we've got... What about a lineman? What are we looking like? Who's still available? Slauson, AQ Shipley, TJ Hall. The offensive linemen are not very awesome. Neither are the defensive linemen. That's to be understandable. Let's see. DeAndre Levy. The corners are not great. The safeties are not great. You know what? Let's just let the CPU handle the rest of the draft. I don't really know where to go, so we'll just let the CPU handle the rest of the draft. They should have at least like 3 picks to deal with. So that's the final draft. Headed into year 5 simulation. We got to make the playoffs, man. We've only made the playoffs 1 year. Rodgers is a good overall. He should be able to get us there. We've got good weapons around him. We're a good team. Alex Mack is a 77. Phil Lodolt's a 75. Hayward-Bay's a 67. They took House, who doesn't have a name. Zach Miller. All right, they took some okay players. I'm fine with it. NFL, who's the highest overall? It's Malcolm Jenkins at 79 with LaShawn McCoy. We could have taken LaShawn McCoy. Alex Mack was at the top half of the overalls, so that's a big pickup. And I think he might start, actually. Although Ryan Khalil's in the 80s, so he probably doesn't start. But I think this team is good enough. I mean, we've got really good players all around the team. It's just the simulations keep screwing us. We've got good backups now. The receiving core is good. Frank Gore's good. Maybe it's a development trait. Rodgers has not gone up from star at all. The defensive line looks really good. The linebackers look good. Corners look good. Safeties look good. This team is a playoff team. Let's see what happens in simulation. I will see you guys for the final playoff push. Hopefully we are involved. All right, in the final year of simulation, we went 8-9 and didn't make the playoffs. I don't understand why we didn't do well. I mean, we have a good team. I'm not understanding what the problem is. Aaron Rodgers is a 96 overall, 97 with the development. Frank Gore's a 90. We have 4 really solid receivers. The offensive line could be a little bit better, I guess, but it's still very good. The offensive line can't be the main problem. That can't be the issue. The defense is really good. We have good safeties, although Bruce Thornton's not starting in strong safety. Maybe that was a problem. I don't know. The good D-line's good. The corners are good. What's the problem? I don't understand the issue with this. I really don't understand the issue with the team not doing so well. Maybe I should have spent my staff points and upgraded stuff. Maybe that would have helped. I have no idea. But Rodgers had another really good year. 4,500 yards, 38 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. I mean, that's a good season from Rodgers. Running, Frank Gore had 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns. Receiving, 2,000-yard receivers. Brandon Lloyd, 1,311 touchdowns. Ted Ginn had 1,006. Dallas Clark had a good year. Defensively, Patrick Willis had another fantastic season, 123 tackles, 112 for DeQuell Jackson, 88 for Winfield. Sack leader, James Harrison had 14, Peterson had 9, McFarland at 8.5. I mean, we have a good team. We're getting some production. Even 3 interceptions for Patrick Willis, 2 for DeQuell Jackson, 2 for Chris Gamble. I mean, we're getting production out of our guys. I don't understand the problem. I just don't understand the problem. Alex Smith, 4,600 yards, 33 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Let's go to Alex Smith's his stats, since this is the final thing that we will do. How did he go? How good did he do? So his career stats, he put up, in his 4 years as a starter, he put up 4,700 yards, 40 touchdowns, 4,600 yards, 34 touchdowns, 4,500 yards, 33 touchdowns, and 4,600 yards, 33 touchdowns. We'll say that's pretty good for Alex Smith. and then we'll go back to Rodgers, and we'll compare the two. So, how good did Rodgers do in his 4 years as a starter, or 5 years, I guess he had. So, year 1, he had 36 and 26. Year 2, he had 39 and 26. Year 3 is when we switched the playbooks, I think. 42 and 35, 42 and 29, 45 and 38. So, he didn't have the yards consistently like Alex Smith did, but he had some pretty good touchdown numbers. He had a lot of interceptions too. I might put both pictures on the screen at the same time so you guys can compare yourselves, see them side by side. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. What you guys think, who had the better career in the 5 years start to their season, or to their careers. Who had the better career, Aaron Rodgers on the 49ers or Alex Smith on the Packers? And Alex Smith made the playoffs every single season. Yeah, in the first year, they made the playoffs with Brett Favre, but ever since Brett Favre retired after the first season. So Alex Smith was the quarterback for the next 4, and they made the playoffs every single year. Will they make it to the Super Bowl just to spite me? We'll find out who's in the Super Bowl this year. It's Steelers and Buccaneers. So the Packers, again, don't make the playoffs. So neither one of us made a Super Bowl in the 5-year simulation. They lost in the first round to the Panthers. My camera was covering it up. They lost in the first round to the Panthers. Who wins the Super Bowl in the final season? Is it going to be the Steelers or is it going to be the Buccaneers? I'm still upset, man. I don't understand what the problem was. I don't really understand what the problem was. Steelers won the Super Bowl, by the way. Season recap. Joey Porter wins the MVP of the Super Bowl. Chris Sims is the MVP of the league. Nick Sirianni, Coach of the Year. Torrey Holt, Dwight Freeney are offensive defensive players of the year. Hakeem Nicks and Michael Bennett are the offense and defensive rookies of the year. So, let me know down below in the comments what you guys thought of this third episode of What If. Who do you think won? Do you think Aaron Rodgers, or do you think Alex Smith had the best start to their career, the best 5 years? Let me know down in the comments, and also in the comments, let me know what other episodes you want to see, what other possible scenarios you want to see in the upcoming episodes of this first season of What If. I'll probably go about 10 to 12 episodes of season 1 of What If, then we'll take a little bit of a break, then we'll come back to season 2. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for seasons, like separating seasons for What If. So I still need a lot of ideas. I have a few of my own, but I still need a couple ideas from you guys. So feel free to leave in the comments section below. And also, if you have an idea of how I could have improved this team better than what I did, let me know down in the comments below. I'd be happy to see what you guys had to say. But other than that, that's going to do it for episode 3 of What If. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, join the Juice Club, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.